They're back, and something we've been waiting for finally flickered from maybe to pay attention. The twist? It's not the headline you thought. It's not a 7-footer. It's not a wing with a million posters. It's a move that changes the tempo, the tone, the pulse. If that sounds vague, good. Because tonight we're going to connect the dots before we say the name, and once you see the map, the destination's going to feel obvious. You can feel the temperature in the bay, right? Not panic, not nostalgia, urgency. That space between respectful farewell tour and we're still dangerous, deal with it. This season is about shaving off the 5 messy possessions that have bitten the Warriors late, turning near wins into comfortable ones, and building a closing identity you can carry into May. That's the whole show. Here's what we'll do together. Lay out the stakes of the next 8 weeks, read the clues the front office keeps hinting at, walk through the timeline where real surgery happens, and explain why the fix isn't necessarily the loudest, but the most grown up. We'll talk cap channels without getting lost, rotation logic without talking down to anyone, and playoff math without the math headache. No spoilers yet, just the promise. By the end, you'll understand the why before we get to the who. Quick pause. If you love this team and want the breakdowns while they're still hot, stick around, drop a like so more of Dub Nation sees this in time, and make sure the bell is on. Around here, we don't chase the echo. We try to beat it by a step. Baseline first. The Warriors still speak a language that punishes undisciplined defenses, split cuts, empty corner actions, short roll reads, the subtle relocations that turn half a step into 3 points. But languages need a translator when the noise gets loud. They need a possession adult who can be gloriously boring at the right times. Entry, rescreen, pocket pass, reverse, corner 3, repeat. Boring is beautiful in the playoffs. There's also the room to consider. Veterans don't need speeches. They need clarity. Younger guys don't need miracle asks. They need a lane that fits who they are right now. If you're a front office with an urgent window, you audit not just talent. You audit the voice at the top of each possession. Who starts the play on time? Who ends the run that's getting away from you? Who tells everyone without a word, "We're fine"? Calendar matters. There are soft spots when it's easier to rewire without drama. That pre-deadline stretch when contracts unlock, the all-star pocket where you can install tweaks, the quiet weeks where roles harden. If you're going to change the rhythm of your offense and the posture of your defense, you do it before March film habits calcify. Mechanics and fit before fantasy. The Warriors need someone who toggles between on-ball and off-ball without ego, who can punish help with catch and shoot, who values the paint touch early and the safe pass late, who keeps Steph's gravity dangerous without asking him to be a fireman on every trip. On the other end, you want a guard who's a communicator, who wins angles, who anticipates tags and puts out small fires before they become layups. Read the tea leaves. The chatter around the league isn't massive swing for a shiny name. It's silent search for a clean fit who fixes the texture of turnovers, the late clock diet, and the free throw droughts when jumpers go cold. That's the profile. That's the lever. And yes, it's the exact lever smart contenders pull when the window is urgent. All right, door open. Internally, the Warriors have confirmed the direction of their pursuit. When the window opens and the medical contract mechanics align, the veteran guard at the top of the board is Fred VanVleet. Not a ribbon cutting, not a handshake in a back room, an aligned target and a prepared plan for the right moment. The confirmation here isn't a trophy selfie, it's a North Star. The organization sees the same gap you see and believes FVV's game is the cleanest, quickest way to close it. Why him and why now? Start with the skill stack. VanVleet is a no-nonsense organizer who can run your action or space your action. He's comfortable handing the ball back to Steph on time or dragging coverage just enough to unlock the short roll. He understands empty corner pick and rolls, delay looks, Spain variations, ghost screens, and the little hesitations that force a defense to show its cards. He doesn't hijack possessions. He curates them. Shot profile matters. This team's best nights come when the paint gets touched early, not always to finish, but to force rotations that feed corner threes. FVV gets 2 feet in, makes 2-beat decisions, and keeps the advantage alive instead of dribbling it flat. Late clock, he lives with clean math. Pull up if the big sits. Pocket if the nail stunts. Swing if the low man panics. It's not sexy. It wins. Defense is about details. He's not going to grow 6 inches by Tuesday, but he beats screens. With anticipation, bothers the ball with his hands and calls out actions before they arrive. In a scheme that thrives on communication and pre-switching, having a guard who talks you into the right spot is half the battle. He's stubborn at the point, willing at the nail, and alert on the weak side. Exactly the kind of adult effort that turns almost stops into real ones. Let's be adults about the 2 obvious flags, health and contract. Recovery is real and it's not a straight line. Salary is real, and matching it without gutting your flexibility is a puzzle. This is precisely why confirmed direction matters. It means your homework is done ahead of time. What you'll pay, what you won't, where you draw the line, how you preserve enough powder for a wing or a big later. Smart teams decide before the phones buzz. On the other side, the Rockets' calculus isn't simple. They've valued his voice with a young core. Culture moves matter. Even if the financial chessboard nudges the conversation, you don't move a locker room pillar lightly. Any path would require alignment, medical comfort, player comfort, organizational comfort, and compensation that respects both the spreadsheet and the room. No fantasy trades here, just an honest acknowledgement that crossroads create calls. So what changes on the floor day 1 if the door opens and this happens? Not a takeover, an alignment. Steph's off-ball genius gets more clean catches inside the flow. Draymond's reads get a partner who can make the second pass with the same eyes. The second unit stops living and dying by chaos. Clutch time becomes a list, not a vibe. You see it in the absence of panic and the presence of free throws. Picture an ATO with 14 on the clock. Empty corner right, Steph lifts. Draymond pitches to the short roll, the low man tags, and that shoulder-high dart to the corner arrives on time without heat. Or it's a reject because the help shows early, or it's a snake back to invert the floor while the weak side pin-in locks a shooter. That's a veteran pilot at the top. Calm in turbulence, precise on landing. The kids benefit too. This isn't about shrinking their lane, it's about paving it. A veteran organizer frames the decision tree. When to press, when to pull, what. The defense is baiting, how to get to your spots without fighting the play. Young guards eat better meals when the kitchen has a chef. They learn faster when the lesson is on film and in real time, not just in theory. Is there risk? Of course. You're betting on a recovery arc, a fit in a room that already has a strong voice, and a contract that doesn't box you out of other fixes. The inverse risk is real, too. Doing nothing and asking the same group to become a different team by spring. One bet is active, one is passive. Both are bets. This front office has earned the right to choose the kinder variance. Lineups. Think adapters, not absolutes. A guard like FVV lets you build closing fives without least bad compromises. You can go small and fast, big and switchy, shooting heavy or defense heavy. He fits all 4. He doesn't demand a specific identity. He stabilizes whichever one you choose that night. If a matchup calls for more on-ball creation, he's there. If it calls for more off-ball gravity, he's there too. Steph's life gets simpler in all the important ways. More finishing, fewer fire drills. More possessions where he's catching on balance. Fewer where he's bailing water. Draymond's life gets louder where he's loudest, quarterbacking the back line, because the guard next to him won't waste the advantages he creates with a slip, a push ahead, or a handoff that collapses the shell. What does this do to the shopping list later? It clarifies it. If your top of possession voice is squared away, your deadline becomes about edges, length at the wing, a rebounder who runs, a big who screens like a door and catches in traffic. The stencil is clearer. You're not guessing what style you'll be in April. You're reinforcing it. Let's address the loud counterpoint. Why not swing for the flashy fix? Because the contenders you're chasing are already optimized for the obvious. The advantage lives in the last unsolved inches. Turnover texture, foul math, late clock discipline, nail help rules. A veteran organizer who changes the temperature of those inches is more valuable than a February press conference that trends for a day. Here's what to watch if you want to know whether the temperature is rising on this path. 1. Late-game offense versus top 8 defenses. Are the sets generating paint, whistles, or open threes? 2. Live ball turnovers. Are they coming from pressure without a release valve? 3. Free throws when the jumpers go cold. Are you getting to the stripe or dying pretty? 4. After timeout execution. Layups, fouls, or bailouts. Those are coach and guard fingerprints. Those are the tea leaves. The optics? Some fans want a name that moves jersey sales by itself. That's not how you win series. You win with people who turn 50-50 into 60-40 because they finish the possession you meant to run instead of the one you settled for. You win because the ball doesn't get turned over live on the wing late in the fourth. You win because your closer doesn't have to be a composer, a drummer, and a bouncer all in one. And if the door doesn't open, there's still a very responsible path. Tighten what already works. Give the current playbook a harder edge, nibble at the deadline for a role player who shores up a loud weakness, and ride. Doing nothing is a choice, not a sin, as long as it's a choice you can defend when the bracket lands and the matchups are unforgiving. Zoom out. The confirmation here, target, fit, plan, tells you something about how this front office thinks. They're not chasing yesterday's highlight. They're aiming at tomorrow's fourth quarter. They understand that the Warriors' brand of basketball is a cathedral, and sometimes what you need isn't a new wing. It's a better bell ringer. I want to hear from you. Would you pull the lever on a veteran organizer if the price and timing line up, or do you prefer to keep the powder dry and bet on internal growth plus a smaller deadline ad? How much does health timeline matter to you? Contract length? The cost in youth versus preserving enough picks to chase a wing later? Be specific. I'll pin the sharpest blueprints so more of Dub Nation can weigh them. My personal opinion? If availability and cost align, I'd take the shot on VanVleet because he solves the exact possessions that have been expensive: end game control, turnover texture, and free throw droughts. If the window doesn't open cleanly, or if the price taxes the future so hard that you can't fix the wing or the glass later, I'd hold. Either way, this is informed speculation, not an announcement. The only thing that will make it real is the basketball and the business saying yes at the same time.